Hello and welcome to Nerdy Up North's interview show. I'm your host Jake, and today I'm joined by Sliding Sloop, one of my very good friends and a fine purveyor of creative northern profanity.
Thank you. That's a very nice intro.
No problem.
Like
So without further ado, Sloop, we need to talk. There's the intro.
You've worked on that. I like that. I like the pointed finger.
Yeah, it's like menacing, but also friendly at the same time.
Friendly menace.
Attention grabbing.
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, Sloop, how are you getting on? How are you doing?
Muggy, to be honest. It's too muggy. It's too hot. It's this northern England and it's like 20 plus degrees. I'm not here for it.
It is. Like we're dating ourselves, but like we're in the heat wave of June 2023 at the moment. Things are sticky. It's trying to rain, but it's just making the humidity worse.
Yeah, it's trying. It did work. It did work ever so slightly 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And then since then it went hot again. And then it's rained a bit today, but it still feels like you're huffing through a wet sock. I'm not enjoying it.
The best part about this is as well, this is exactly how Northerners talk. We gripe about the weather. Yeah. It's very nerdy up north.
It's good content. It's good content. That's live content. That's what it is. Not just streaming content, live content.
Absolutely. But yeah, you are a streamer. You do video games. You appear on chat show type things sometimes on other people's shows. A Renaissance person. But I was just wanting to ask you some sort of questions. Basically just to find out how you either got started or, you know, what your kind of goals are. And also like to kind of help other people who want to try and get into this kind of thing. Okay. So how did you get your start into streaming?
Honestly, I watched Twitch more. Well, I watched Twitch before I ever streamed on it.
Yeah.
There's a game called Hunt Showdown. This is not an ad. That me and me friends in real life got absolutely obsessed with during COVID. When the pandemic hit, we kind of retreated all to our bedrooms, and then we started playing Hunt Showdown literally every night. Pretty much for every single night.
You know, and like I think related to the pandemic, I think I started watching you stream when I was ill with COVID. Like I was dying, and I was like, I'm gonna have to sequester myself to a bedroom. I was like, oh, my friend has started streaming. I'll just lie here in a ball and chat to people.
Yeah, well, I'll get that at the moment, but COVID's part of the reason I started streaming, basically. But when I first came across Twitch, I was watching two streamers. That was pretty much it. It was a guy called Psycho Ghost and a guy called Average Joe, and they are pretty much Hunt Showdown streamers. That's what the stream, you know, that's kind of not their job. It wasn't when I first started watching them. They still worked, but I do believe they're full time now. Yeah. And then from that, I just started sort of stumbling across other streams, smaller streams, and like chatty ones, and then ones with other games that I liked watching, things like Apex Legends, because I got very into that during the pandemic as well.
Oh yeah, I think we all tried a bit of that.
Yeah, I still play it. I still play it. Yeah. It was I won a game earlier before we came on, and I came third and second in another one. I'm not too bad. I'm not the best, but I'm not too shabby either. And then I don't know what it was that made it stream. It was a couple of things. One, COVID, I found very isolating, and a lot of people loved it because they could work from home and they could, you know, do what they want to do in their own home and all that sort of stuff. For me, I'm not that kind of person. I don't mind my own space, but I do actually need some sort of human contact to actually function.
Yeah.
So I really struggled when I worked from home, and I absolutely hated it. And when I moved because my person who I used to live with, my friend, bought our own house. So I had to find somewhere else to live. And then living on my own, I was just a bit like, it's nice. I like having my own space. I actually quite like living on my own, but I needed an output.
Yeah, you probably you got like a concentrated dose of like isolation there. Like normally you would have like, oh cool, my own place. Then I go to work and then I come back and it's my own space. But you got like, you know, straight to the veins, like, how about some of your own space forever?
Yeah, forever. So I just thought, well, I've got my own space now, and I've got a spare room where I can have a little desk. And it was just an idea of kind of, I quite like the social aspect of Twitch. I fell into a few streams that were very much more social, a bit more chatty.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is quite nice. This is quite cool. I wonder if, maybe there would be a good way to sort of have a hobby. Because when you stream, you don't expect, 20 people just to jump in and go, oh, you're amazing, blah, 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 blah. But it'd be nice to sort of do something with your time, have a hobby, but then also maybe, people might stumble across you and you might want to chat or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the reason that I started, was just to stop me being bored and have something to do and have something constructive, which I found quite fun. And that's basically why I got into it, was just sort of a bit something to do and have a little bit of a hobby. And I think I was lucky enough that some of the people that I watched then came and kind of had a little neb and were really supportive and said, oh, we'll follow you and we'll pop in, we'll raid you and stuff like that. So but yeah, that was basically, it was just more of it was a combination of, I'm very on my own and I want to sort of not be just this person who dies in their flat and isn't found for 3 years. Do you know what I mean?
Because we did all think we could die at any moment. That was true. But to be honest with you, I probably saw a lot of that happen. Like it was really cool to see like the people come in, and then you were like telling me as a viewer, like, oh, you should check out these guys, they do great stuff. Like, and like, like you managed to build a quite like tight knit little community of little freaks, which is what we all want, really.
I think as well, it depends on the community you kind of find yourself in. There's some channels that I watch where people are very chatty, but they're it's quite a loose community in terms of people going in and out all the time. Some people might not come back for a while, and that's fine. That is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But a few of the streams that I fell into, some of it was, it was very close. People were very close, and people like knew each other a little bit offline or had met up offline and stuff like that. And it was just getting to sort of be involved in those conversations and build up that rapport with people.
One cool thing I've noticed, one thing I've noticed is like, you as the streamer, like this goes for anyone doing things with a chat, like you kind of bring these people together in a way, because hopefully you've got your regulars, like your friends, people you chat to, but then if someone outside of that group comes in and then you talk to them because you know them from somewhere else or you've checked them out before, then you kind of validate them to everyone in your chat and they like bring them in, and it's kind of like this building block sort of situation where like everyone gets involved, hopefully.
I mean that's kind of that's the good thing about Twitch, is that you find little pockets and little niches and streams that you really enjoy and you like watching, and you will go and watch them whatever night they happen to be on. But then there's also that freedom to kind of go and have a little look, see who's playing the game that you like, see if someone who's been in your chat, they might stream and they might have just came in because they've found you. You might go and check out their stream, and there's a lot of you'll find, once you're kind of in a community a little bit, that they know people who like, and then you just find loads of streams, and then you can it just kind of spreads a little bit, like from there, just like a little, I was going to say like a parasite, but that's the wrong way to put it, but just I don't know,
not
like
a virus. We don't liken things to viruses anymore.
No. A friendly vibration.
Yeah,
there you go. And it emanates. There you are.
Definitely. Did you find there was any like technical hurdles you ran up against, and did knowing people like in the know, did they like help you out, or was there enough guides that you could figure it out?
I have quite a low tech stream, and I think I'm not technically dense, but I'm also not technically, a whiz. Also, I think I'm not that rich. I don't, computers are expensive. Kits can be quite expensive. So I think for me, I've kind of technical wise tried to keep it in a position where I know what I'm doing and I know where to go in order to find out an answer if I have an issue.
Yeah.
So when I bought my laptop that I stream off, I did have a bit of a look at the specs, and I made sure I had a good enough graphics card and good enough kind of memory and stuff to be able to handle what I thought I was going to play. So I deliberately avoid certain things because I don't know if my computer or my kit will take it. The only bit that I've had issue with at the beginning was the streaming software. So I actually started using, when I first started, I used Streamlabs because that was seen as the user-friendly, noob-friendly software. But then it absolutely tanks your CPU and takes up a lot of resources. And someone kind of said, "Oh, you'd probably be better off using OBS." And I thought, "Ooh, well, OBS didn't look user-friendly when you first look at it. It looks very, because it is open source and it's sort of very GitHub-y and all that.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
like if people don't know, it's kind of just like a black screen with like audio bars when you first open it up, and you're like,
What's
until
this?
you start putting stuff into it, there isn't really anything there to look at.
So when I downloaded OBS has got a really good set of manuals.
Yeah.
And it was a case of following those manuals, identifying kind of what I wanted to see. And there was a couple of people that I did get some tips off in terms of lighting. So this light's pretty shite. It's an energy efficient shatty light bulb.
I've got a missing light bulb above me at the moment. I should really stick another one in.
And that was the main thing that I struggled with. If you, I mean, you can't see them now, but we very, very early streams, I didn't have, when I had a camera. I didn't even have a camera when I first started.
No, I think I might have started when you were still cam off.
Cameraless, yeah. And that was
fine.
because I didn't have a proper webcam. I just had the laptop cam, which is shite resolution, and it shows you from here, so you look like some 40-year-old person taking the first photo.
I used to use that because, like you say, I didn't have anything. And I used to have to like angle the screen like more towards myself than I would have liked to be playing on.
Kind of do this. You haven't got four chins, and I was just like, no. So that camera was actually only £70.
Yeah.
And it's not a top of the range one. It's probably, I think it's a Logitech C9 something, and that was a recommendation of somebody.
Yeah, because if you know it works well, like that's almost the best thing. If you hear from someone like it works, I'm like, get in, I'll check it out.
And it's really simple. It's simple. You plug it in the back of the USB, you change your input, bish bash bosh, and it's pretty basic. I'd be very surprised if someone had a technical issue doing that. The microphone was just a Yeti, Blue Yeti. Again, that came as a recommendation because I don't have much space, so I don't have much space for like an arm.
Yeah.
Or that, like what you've got, where you've got an arm across and then a microphone beneath. I don't have much room for that, so I needed something that was kind of smallish, that could sit on my desk and doesn't. You can't feel all the vibrations if I'm on the laptop game, and this kind of absorbs it. Again, that was a recommendation from somebody else who said, it was about £80, I think, at the time, who used to stream, used to discos, and he recommended putting a winter sock over the top of the microphone to stop the pop.
Yeah.
So that's the pop filter, and that's been there since I started. And I think that's brilliant. So if anybody can't be asked to get a pop filter and has a stash of winter socks, just get a fluffy winter sock and put it over the top of your microphone.
It absolutely works. I've never heard you pop.
Exactly. It's simple and free.
Yeah.
And then
you didn't have to buy a silly pack of foam things like I did.
Nah. And the other thing I got advice on, like I said, the light, and that was it. So someone said, you can get a ring light, or you can get, fancy whatevers. But I couldn't be asked, basically. And again,
it's another thing to set up on your desk as well, if we're honest.
So I ended up getting an IKEA light, just a little desk light from a friend. And someone said, you need to diffuse the light because you can't just have a bright light on you, because it'll basically just give you a big grease spot and it'll look really weird.
Yeah, I think I've got one.
So they said, put a white pillowcase.
Yeah.
Drape it over the light, and it'll diffuse the light out, and that's all I've got. It's just an IKEA lamp that I got for free off a friend with a white pillowcase just draped over the front of the bulb.
Yeah.
And it just makes the light go outwards instead of focusing on your forehead.
This is why I'm doing this show, to learn tips for myself and for anyone watching who wants to do roughly what we're doing. The no budget stream thing.
Exactly. So the only thing that it was really expensive was the laptop.
Aye.
And I think there's a big there's a weird thought that to stream you must have like a high end fancy 4080 Ryzen 9 whatever to stream, and you don't. You just need something that has, if you're going to stream games, you obviously need a half decent graphic card, but most things you only need a 1660 Ti or something or above. If you've got a little bit of RAM, that's fantastic. If you've got a decent bit of kit, then great, but you don't need to have the best PC, the most expensive PC, the whatever PC.
Absolutely.
To stream at all.
I don't anymore. It was okay when I first got it, but like it's probably like just above PS4, Xbox One level now. But I found that like as long as you're trying to make a good sort of stream
just
experience,
kind of make do and mend with it.
If your gameplay is a little bit choppy, it's like it's gonna be okay as long as like people can roughly see and you're still chatting to them. Like I wouldn't let that stop anybody if they wanted to jump in. If something's a little bit choppy, you could even try doing recordings instead. If you're thinking like the internet's throttling you, you could also record with OBS, which is what we're doing now. Hopefully it works. Who knows?
We can always re-record things if it all goes horribly wrong.
But was there any sort of big people you would attribute as like influences? I know you've said like there was Average Joe kind of got you like into the world, but was there anyone that you kind of like aspired to be like when you were sort of on stream?
I think there's a few things. I'd love to be a good gamer.
Oh, you're fine. To be honest, I don't think being a good gamer is massively needed for streaming.
I'm all right. I mean, communicate with chat and how they... Well, in terms of how they sort of communicate with chat and foster a community, I'd say that the person that I sort of look up to the most, who still streams, is probably Angel Interceptor. And I know you've seen her streams as well.
Definitely, she's great.
She's got a really good sort of... it can get very silly, but it can also get very supportive. And she's very good at just being entertaining without trying hard.
Yeah.
But also getting people to talk and chat. And it's not just talking to her, it's talking amongst each other as well. And I think that's quite important. It's not just, people talking at the streamer all the time. It's also people having those little inter-conversations that feed into what the streamer might be doing or what they're talking about and stuff like that. So I think in terms of that, I think she's really, really, really good at that. And then the other person that I think is quite good at kind of working the crowd sort of thing in a way is probably Bruce Green. So he was obviously off Funhouse back in the day and stuff like that. I've watched him as well. And he's really good again at like just fostering a really good community. And you'll see in those two streams the same people go back all the time. And I think having that continuity of chat and callbacks and things like that, the jokes from streams gone by can sometimes be really, really good. And it sometimes, obviously, if you're new going in, it can seem a bit like whoa, but once you're kind of in there, it's like you feel like you're part of something. So those two, in terms of like personality and sort of how they work with chat, I think they're both fantastic at it. So
and like I think like people might hear us like talking about this and think like, oh, so you kind of being a bit like fake, you kind of manipulating the chat, but it's like you kind of do have to play a bit of a character on screen, and you do kind of need to bring some things in to the video, and also like know when to leave the chat to like just get on with something on the side while you're concentrating and be like, that's not really something I need to read out, but I'm glad it's it's happening. It's funny.
No, I think you're totally right. I think there is, because you're essentially performing.
Oh, definitely.
You're not necessarily performing a character per se, but you are kind of, before every stream, you have a little bit of a, right, I need to go for a wee and have a drink, and you kind of G yourself up a bit. If you've had a shite day, you might not want to stream. Like I've streamed loads where I'm knackered, or I can't be arsed, or I've had shite news, or I've just can't be bothered. But I kind of want to do it because I know that it'll pep us up a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
It's at least something different. Like you can worry about the stuff later,
exactly. And then if you want to, if it's something that you can talk about without doxing yourself or other people, sometimes it's nice because you can get viewpoints from other people, or you can have a bit of a chat with other people.
Absolutely.
Other people might have similar experiences and want to talk about it themselves and stuff like that. So I think you're right. You have to kind of bring something with you. While it's, you're not playing a character per se, you are kind of heightening yourself a little bit to kind of be on and be entertaining, because you do have to be a little bit entertaining. You can't just sort of sit there with a grumpy mush on you and expect people to
and you can't
share
just
you up.
you can't just let the chat comments just roll in without you've got to pick things up, and like you said, like the silly in jokes that come around from stream to stream obviously can put some people, like newcomers, off, but there's nothing funnier than when you see something on screen, you're like we've got a guy called Lee in ours who's had a notoriously bad car, and he would tell us stories about how much stuff it leaked. So then when a car explodes in the game, you're like, oh, there's Lee's car again. Just silly things like that. But that's one thing I have noticed about you, that you're really good at remembering people, remembering screen names from other streams, or remembering people's stories. And I think that endears a lot of people to you when you're like, oh, you said you were going for a new job, how's it going, at the start of the stream, without them saying anything, unprompted. You kind of pick up on it. It's just part of I suppose you're just doing good community building really at that stage.
It's partly that, and I mean, this might sound like I'm bit of a syrupy twat, or I'm trying to be amazing, but I genuinely give a shit.
Yeah.
I hope that everyone that I know and that I like are having a nice day. I hope nothing shit's happened to people, and if something has happened to them, I want to know that they're all right. Or if they've had something that's potentially life-changing, like they've had a new job, or they might have had surgery and they've told us, or they might have had whatever. I want to make sure that they're all right, or if there's something else that they want to talk about, or whatever, or even if they just want to say, do you know what, I'm not having a great time, I'm just going to lurk in the stream. Fine, okay, as long as you're all right, then I'm okay. But it's just that kind of...
And then you sometimes see them sneak in with a sound effect, and you're like, oh, they've perked up a little bit. So they've done an exclamation point honk.
And I think for me, it's that whole bit of me giving a shit isn't a character. I do actually care. And that's the reason I kind of remember people's names. If I've interacted with somebody and, they've said something that I've, it's concerned us, or it's intrigued us, or whatever, that'll just stick in my head. And then I'll just remember. I don't know. I've always had a reasonably good memory for stuff.
Definitely.
Anyway.
I feel like when you get a first time chatter, to me, it still feels like a special event where I'm like, oh, cool. Someone's obviously stuck the stream on, which anyone can randomly stumble across, because you could just search Super Mario and find anybody, if they're playing a Mario game. But it's that someone's took the time to have a little type, test the waters and stuff. And I think it does, it sticks in my memory, because I'm like, oh, you've took the time there. Obviously I'm taking the time to make something, but also to chat. You're also kind of invest in yourself a little bit, because you could say something and the streamer could make fun of you. You don't know what's going to happen really, unless you've sat there and looked for a long time. It's an interesting relationship.
I think there's somebody chatted for the first time in my chat, I don't know if it was yesterday or the weekend, who was looking to have him. I was like, oh, hello, how did you find us? And because he hadn't come in with a raid, or they hadn't come in with a raid.
Yeah.
And they went, oh, I've just I found you looking for the game, and I've been here a little bit. I like the vibe. I thought I'd say hello, and I think that's really nice.
That's the perfect interaction.
Exactly, it's perfect. It's not some spammer coming in asking if I want to invest in Dogecoin, or if I want to have bigfollows.com and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, you know what? One of my favorites is actually when you get like the game expert for this, like what you thought was a semi-obscure game. Like sometimes I got like the, you know, like the Wario savants coming in being like,
Nice.
oh yeah, the key's just like behind this block, and I'm like, oh sweet, this helps me out because I was running around in circles here. And I'm like, oh awesome, because it's like I'm not like a one expert on one thing massively, but it's cool that you can like accidentally attract, like you played like Doom for a while and there was loads of guys in there being like, no, you gotta jump up here and get the BFG, and it's like, and you're like, okay, cool. And you're like,
you know, one thing about that was mad. So Doom, I played Doom 2 a while ago now.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there playing away. I think there was 8 or 9 people in at the time, which was great at the time. It was fantastic. Still is, to be fair. Anybody watching is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And this guy came in, first time chatter, and he was like, how are you enjoying the game? I was like, oh, it's brilliant, because Doom 2 is my favourite Doom.
Hello there.
I've decided. Absolutely wonderful game. If you haven't played it, please play it. It's marvellous. And the name rang a bell, and I was like, So he chatted and he went, oh, there's, you know, I can give you a few tips if you want. I was like, yeah, because I've got a tag on my stream that says back seating allowed. So I don't mind people, as long as they kind of don't just charge straight in and go, this is the answer. And they kind of say, oh, are you okay with it, whatever. And so he gave us a few hints and tips. I finished the level and he said, oh, it's really great to see somebody play this game because I loved this game. I played it when it first came out, and he was really enthusiastic and really lovely. And then, so after the stream, a couple of days afterwards, I was like, that name, his name really bothered us. So I Googled him. Turns out the guy who was in the stream was an ex-speedrun world record holder of some particular levels in Doom 2. And I was like, what the fuck? How the hell did he find me? And the fact that he bothered to actually come and watch us was just really, really quite cool. I mean, I'll never see him again. I've never seen him since. No, not. But like, whatever. But that little thing was just like, whoa, how like cool.
It is a small world. In the online space as well, you could run into them in a different sort of form. But that's one of the things that you can't really get anywhere else. Like, because I feel like on YouTube, like people, you search for the video you want or the channel you want. Like, you're not just kind of like, I wouldn't go to YouTube and type in like The Legend of Zelda and then scroll around because I know like I need to narrow it down. Whereas Twitch is like, you can just go by game and be like, this person's got 6 viewers, maybe I'll be the 7th, and kind of investigate a bit. And you can just use it to check out things like if you play in, I know me and you don't play new games super often, but we'll sometimes play like an indie game. And like, I've definitely got people drop in where they must just be checking it out to see if they want to buy it. And they're just like, they'll stop and be like, oh, what's this part like? And maybe you'll sell them on it by accident.
Yeah. No, I think a couple of people did that with Spiritfarer. I had a couple of people come in and go, oh, I've seen this, and they've watched a couple of people play it, where you up to, and they went, it looks really good, and all that sort of thing. And then a couple of people who in chat, like followers, have said, oh, I've bought this game because you played it, and I want to play it now, and that's quite cool.
There's definitely been some games that you've played where I've been like, kind of like, oh cool, now I can check this out, because I've always meant to, and it's like it's one of those weird things where there's so much stuff to check out. Like, if you can find someone playing something, you get that kind of little bit of a, like, you know, you're playing it together sort of thing, because I know what you mean. If the streamer gets stuck on a puzzle as well, and you genuinely don't know, you can like throw ideas out together, and it's like, oh hell yeah, because you do a lot of like puzzle games, don't you?
Yeah. So when I played Untitled Goose Game yesterday, there was a few kind of people in there just chucking.
That one can be rough.
There were people I was stuck on, and people were chucking ideas in, and that was quite good fun. But I know what you mean. People come in and sort of scope it out, because buying a game is not cheap.
Yeah.
It's almost an investment to some people. So that there's nothing wrong with kind of scoping and checking out. Like Inscription was one. I didn't really think I had much interest in that, but then I watched a couple of people play it, and I was like, oh, this is a bit more than I thought it would be.
When you
And
were playing that, I was kind of dipping in because I've got it and I've played like about 4 hours, and I was kind of dipping in when you were streaming. I was like, but I don't want to see everything.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
obviously by just scrolling Twitter, you get spoiled constantly on like, you know, what games end up looking like in later stages constantly. I mean, Zelda, it was like day one, there was people building mechs, and I was like, oh, so all of those items exist that I won't see for like 20 hours. Okay. Just try and stuff that back at the back of the memory and not think about it.
The issue with social media, great for accessing stuff, but also for accessing stuff you don't want to see.
Absolutely.
Or access.
I suppose this kind of topic leads on to like one of the other questions I had was like, do you think there's like a such thing as a game that's like unstreamable or you shouldn't touch? Because like I would say that I've seen you attempt some things that I might think wouldn't work, like, you know, puzzle games, but you've got it to work. But I don't know, is there anything you've run up against where you're like, oh, I'm never playing this again, like type of thing?
I think there's definitely, it depends on like the people you get in a
Yeah.
lot.
I suppose you could totally like turn off your audience, which is a bad
and I think it depends how you approach the game. I think for me, I wouldn't. It just depends. So puzzle games. The reason I play puzzle games is I've always liked them.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people that will talk out loud as I'm trying to do them.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps the stream a bit because I'm chatting. I'm not just sitting there bong-eyed trying to work out this puzzle.
Like going,
Do you know what I mean? and it's turned out that quite a few people that follow the channel like that, and they like then chucking their own idea in, or kind of bouncing off my idea and suggesting something else that might be tangential to that, or you know. And I think that kind of works for me. And I do think, is there anything I wouldn't stream? I wouldn't stream something that my laptop couldn't cope with.
That was like chugging it. Yeah, I fell into that. I fell into that trap a couple of times trying to play Elden Ring.
Yeah. And I don't think I'd play a game that I knew that I would be not good enough to improve. So what I mean by that is Dead Cells is a really good example of a game which was difficult.
Yeah.
And I knew it was, and I found it difficult, but I could feel myself improving. There was some points with that game where I thought, should I just stop? Because I'm not making any progress. I'm just feel like I'm doing the same exact stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But once you start feeling that incremental progress in a game, you think, actually, that's okay. And I don't know if you watch the streams, I did say a couple of times on stream, is this actually entertaining for you to watch? And
I think I did hear you say that.
Yes, it is. It's fine. We can, you're getting better and all that sort of thing. Because sometimes you can't see that yourself when you're just doing something for hours.
But like I think the thing is, like, I would watch that. Like, I would watch people play Dark Souls and like try a boss like for an entire stream and have to knock it on the head, and they'll beat it next time, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. When it's you,
it's community dependent. I think it's very much community dependent.
And I think you're always a bit harsher on yourself when you're sitting there thinking like, oh, I died. But then again, like, you're supposed to die in some games. Dead Cells, you're supposed to die. It's about dying and improving.
And learning,
I was playing Spelunky, and it's like, it's the same type of game, like the roguelike. And it's like, I have to die because otherwise I won't get practice with this kind of specific thing.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything specific. The games I try to avoid, but this is more my preference. I don't think it's to do with how it would stream.
Yeah.
Is games where there is seemingly no end. So
like Minecraft or something.
Yeah, or I played Gas Station Simulator, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I thought it was janky as hell, but it was really good fun. It was ridiculous. You had people dressed up as aliens coming in and dancing in your shop and all that, chucking fish on the ground. It was stupid. But once I'd finished the tasks, I was just a bit like, right, what's actually the end goal here?
Yeah.
How do I know when this finishes? And I think with those kinds of games, once you get past that point, for me, I don't have any goal to play it anymore because I've done everything that I feel like I needed to do. And how is it then entertaining for the person watching for me to play a game that has no goal?
Yeah, like you lose a bit of your drive to like go. Yeah.
Because the whole for me anyway, when I'm watching someone play a game, I'm either watching them because I want to see them complete the level, or I want to see them complete that bit of the puzzle, or complete that boss, or whatever.
Yeah.
But if there's a game there where they've done all of it, what's apart from maybe it's a speed run or something?
Yeah.
What's next? Why am I now invested in watching them? Not, I mean, obviously the streamer is part of the investment, but you
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of, what's the point in playing a game where you don't have something for the viewer to kind of go, ooh, they're trying to achieve this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's how you like approach streaming then. You're not basically saying like, oh, the people come for me, what is on the screen doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You're kind of like everything matters, and you need
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
having fun
yeah.
as well. It's not
Oh
just
God,
about
yeah.
yeah, it's not just about chatting to people while there's some things whizzing around on screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I
I
think
want to know that people are enjoying
yeah.
everything that they're kind of seeing.
And like the cool thing about like Twitch is both are valid. Like some people do just like
Mm.
hop around on Minecraft because it kind of like helps them switch the brain off so they can just get like a stream of consciousness going because
Yeah.
like it relaxes them. There's definitely games I've found where I get in more of that zone, and like other ones
Yeah.
where the game takes up a bit too much brain power, if you know what I mean, to like to keep up with the chat, which
Totally
it's
get that. Yeah.
it's one of those like give and take things. But I suppose like you say, you've got to check what your audience is into. Like sometimes I play like the Pokemon card game, and I think it's possibly a bit selfish because it's what I want to play, but I don't think any of the people that watch know what's going on, and I don't have time to explain it while I'm playing online against a real person.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like things. But it's always worth trying out, though. I think
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is be aware of your viewers, because that's who you kind of play into a little bit.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you still have to do what you want to do because it's your stream at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And there's no point in doing something that you don't enjoy just to please, however many people are watching you.
Absolutely. And you know what's even better? When you go off the rails, but you end up on a different rail that is even better.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely seen some of your streams where you don't start the game for like an hour, but the tangents that come out of that then become like callback jokes later on when you actually are playing the game. And I think it's only Drone whoever comments on how long it takes you to start the game. I don't think anyone else minds.
No, I mean, so when I first started, there was no have a bit of a chat and stuff, which is lovely. The fact that even one person would come in. So I used to just go straight from the starting screen, straight into the game, bish, bash, bosh.
Yeah.
And now it's turning this whole behemoth at the beginning of, I'll ask how people are, and we'll have a little bit of back and forth. And then, people will just say they've had something happen, and then we'll just make a thing out of that. Or someone will say something weird about their cat or something that's happened to them, and then we'll go off onto another tangent. And it's definitely become a thing now where if I start the game within 45 minutes of us starting the stream, then chat has somehow failed.
Oh, is that how they view it now?
Yeah, basically that's what it's become. And
it's like distracting the substitute teacher.
yeah, essentially. And I think the record I've had before starting the game was 1 hour 24 minutes or something like that. Yeah. But that was a 6-hour stream, I think.
Oh, was it one of your celebration streams?
Yeah, and I was drinking and I was playing trombone champ. And then by the end of it, I was a bit worse for wear. And I didn't realise, but I played the last song 3 times trying to get an A.
Yeah.
And each time I was just getting drunker and drunker. But that's the whole sort of thing at the beginning has just become a beast of its own. And people do say they enjoy that little bit of pre-game back and forth, because it's almost like a little check-in. How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Has everyone had a good start of the week? Is there anything, has it been shit? Has it been good? Has stuff happened? What's the crack? How is everybody? And I think that helps to get like a feel of how your chat actually are.
Yeah, true.
And I think that guides you how you are a little bit on your stream. So if someone said, something bad's happened with X, then you try your best to just sort of kind of not push that, or maybe direct the conversation away from that if it's, you know, upsetting or something like that for somebody. So I think, yes, it's turned into a bit of a thing, but I think it's an important thing.
And also like, and now that it's like a known thing, when people see that notification pop up, they're like, oh, yep, I can talk to Sloop. She's not going to be like, you know, head first into a puzzle, you know, like immediately and be like, hang on, be quiet, everyone.
I'm kind of goose here, please.
This is a rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle over here.
So and I'm quite a chatty-ish person. I quite like finding out what's going on with people, and not in a nosy way, but in a little bit of a nosy way. But just it just gives you a good, it gives you a good kind of level to then work at, and it also gives you an opportunity if you are feeling shit or you're knackered or you're feeling a bit low energy, is to say to your chat, look, I am a little bit low energy today. This isn't going to be the usual kind of hibbity hop kind of thing. Get ready,
you're in for a drab ride, everyone.
Exactly. I might be on, or you can just say the stream might be a bit shorter, or you know, you kind of put them on the same level as you, so then everybody kind of knows where everybody is.
Yeah,
and then you can crack on.
Did you find that it was that ever sort of daunting? Because that's kind of like putting you out there as like the only form of entertainment, because you can hide behind a game in a way.
Yeah.
But did you ever like think about it like that, or was it just something that you kind of fell into?
No, I think I just fell into it. I didn't really think of me as being. I mean, well,
that's a good thing if you weren't worried about it. It probably shows like that's how you kind of naturally built it.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes if I'm really tired, like I'm exhausted, then I'll feel a bit sort of apprehensive about it. But then once I'm actually doing it, it's fine. Like once I've sort of set up my stream, I've put the music on, I've started stream, I've popped to get a drink, I've come back. There's a
haggis has happened.
The haggis has happened. There's a couple of hellos there, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. We can have a little bit of a chat, sort of thing. So I know what you mean by that, but I didn't deliberately kind of set my stream up so I would be this sort of conduit for conversation.
Oh yeah, I was more kind of wondering if you'd ever been worried, like, can I handle this, like on my own type of thing? No game.
I have done one. Well, I've done one just chatting stream.
Yeah,
as a one-off.
Oh, you did a beach walk one time. That was fun.
I did a couple of beach walks as well. But I don't know if I'd ever do a just chatting stream, because I don't think I'm interested enough. I think there always has to be, for me, there has to be a promise of a game at some point. I think I don't know if I can get away with just doing a chat, because I'm not an artist. I'm not sort of drawn as I'm chatting and doing all that good shit like some streamers that I watch do. It's just like this, and it's, you know, I need to make a bit more, I think.
Well, no, that's because that's the thing. Like, you are like a massive game fan. You're not just playing them for the stream. You're not just being like, I'm gonna play this for the first time because, like, you know, I've never played something like this before. Like, you play games in your off time, so
yeah,
I guess like that's the thing that binds a lot of your audience, like the more often than not game fans. But I know you've got a few like burgeoning chat show hosts in the chat and stuff like that. Which is what I love as well, that like there's room for like people to do like music shows or just like game shows or chats, or even have weird like overlays that like where the chat plays a game on screen, and it's like you can literally find something for everyone.
Definitely.
But I think me and you are definitely in that kind of like, I suppose like we probably are elderly streamers when you think about it, Sloop. Sorry to say. We're from the time where you played a game and you talked over it.
Yeah, basically.
But I like having the game because it's something that I'm passionate about. So then I can always fall back and like fill dead air with something that's happening on screen. Like I can be like, oh, this, you know, this takes like 3 jumps to get up this high. Okay, noted. Like I can just speak my internal like monologue.
Yeah, not totally. I think that is part of the. I think that's part of the attraction of a lot of streams. To be honest, a lot of gaming streams, not just watching someone be really good at the game, It's watching someone's tactics or watching them, speak out what they're thinking while they're doing this thing that happens to be either really good or really bad or whatever. Because going back to who I used to watch, like Psycho Ghost, when he's playing Hunt Showdown, he'll talk about what he's doing, why he's doing it, and he'll talk about why he's got particular traits, why he's got particular guns and ammo, and all that sort of stuff. And it's that kind of information that I like. Not just watching him be amazing because he's fucking ridiculously amazing at the game. He's an absolute beast. But the actual his thought processes behind stuff and his little kind of I'm going to do this now because of this, and I find that fascinating. That's what I love watching. It's particularly about gaming streams, and particularly ones where it's like PvP and PvE. That sort of thing.
Because it's tough, isn't it? Like, to be honest, I even get intimidated when I'm starting any brand new game because I'm just I don't know the controls, I just don't know how anything works. But it's awesome that you can get insight into people who've put the hours in, because in Hunt, you don't know why you should throw something through a window. You don't know what the pros and cons are. It could just attract more enemies for all you know. There might be a reason to do it in this specific spot, and it's getting that kind of insight spoken out loud. It doesn't really happen anywhere else unless it's except YouTube guides and stuff. But you can't troll through forums all the time. But it's cool. You can get a concentrated dose of this is how you should play a match of Hunt. Go.
There's a bit of knowledge for you, and I think as well people like watching people not struggle but overcome. So they can't do something at first, and then they keep trying, and then they keep trying, and then they scream and yell and yelp and tell the computer to fuck off or tell some character to fuck off or whatever. But then they eventually find it's like watching a little victory. There's a few streams that I've watched. If I watch someone do a speed run. And they've tried and they keep dying or they keep failing, and then that second to last run they get that high score, they get that speed run, and it's 30 people or however many there, you're yes, it's this community thing, and it's all lush. But I think there's that's a good thing about streaming generally, is that like you said, there is something for everybody. You can't, I think it's important as well, you can't be everything to everybody all the time as well. You just have to find what you feel comfortable doing, and if people enjoy watching you do it, brilliant. That's the bonus, I think.
But you want to be comfortable, because I can't imagine anything worse than sitting playing a game I really don't like just because it's the new hotness.
I avoid playing brand spanking new games because it's just, it doesn't, I just don't want to. I want to play it when I want to play it, not because it dictates. If it's a game that genuinely interests us, then I'll play it. But a lot of the time I play stuff that's old.
I think
years old.
I think me and you both kind of, from what I've noticed from us chatting, is we tend to keep the new games to ourselves, keep them off stream if we're playing new things. I played a little bit of Zelda on stream, but I just dropped in a couple hours in already, and then I've been playing it exclusively off stream after that. I don't personally think someone needs to see every second of your save file, but some other people might prefer to get a full you're doing a playthrough for us, the audience. We need to see everything. But I that as well, you can do a bit of both, check-ins, or you can do a long-standing series and finish a whole thing.
Yeah, and I think as well, just because you stream, I don't think you need to stream every single game you'll ever play. I think it's important to still enjoy a little bit of gaming outside of streaming. Obviously, if it's your full-time job, then that's different. But I still play. What am I playing at the minute? Obviously, apart from Apex, I've got the Sinking City. I'm playing a little bit of, and I'm playing blah blah blah. Whatchamacallit? What was I playing?
I think
a bit of Halo Infinite and stuff.
Didn't you say you were dipping your toe into Breath of the Wild as well?
Breath of the Wild on Switch, yes. I've been lent that, so I'm just sort of keeping my toes wet in stuff offline, but then also just sort of just playing stuff that looks interesting online.
I'm not sure what to do about Starfield, because I'm thinking that would be really fun to stream just because of all the random planets you could end up on and the weird things you could come across. But then at the same time, I'm like, I really want to just be quiet and live in space and spend time. Because I think when you're streaming, you sometimes, like, I don't know, it might just be me, but I'm like, well, I can't just like explore this random corner of the world. Or like I'll look in for a little sec and then I'll run off because I'm like, the stream doesn't want to watch me like poke around, like smashing every box on the level, like looking for like apples or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you feel like the stream changes the way you play, or do you kind of have a good? Do you not think about it too much?
I try not to think about it too much. Yeah. I don't think it does.
That's probably best.
I think I think the stuff I've played in an honest way, and by that I mean I've played it in the way that I probably would have done whilst being off stream.
True, like you're not one of those streamers who like sees like a weird glitch and then you're like, oh, come on, look at this, guys, we're gonna hop up and down until the glitch gets even worse and like make it like silly. Like you kind of just play.
A little bit of dancing around the farm when playing Untitled Goose Game yesterday. I found a thing. If I went round in a circle, he would go in a circle, so you just do forever.
You've got to make the most of your time with him and annoy him as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that is important as well. Not to try and play up too much when you're playing the game. Just play how you would want to play the game.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. If someone shouts out something like a request, like, "Oh, go blow this thing up," I'll be like, might as well. We're here. Like,
why not? YOLO and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. If it might be funny. I probably wouldn't do this on my own save, but like, hey ho, you can't be too precious about anything when you're streaming. I don't think.
Nah, definitely not. But I think just play how you want to play, and I don't think streaming has. I think the one thing streaming has done is it's made me play more games that I probably would never have played.
Yeah, true.
And you know, in your Discord, people have put like some really good suggestions. Like, I mean, Dead Cells would not have been on my radar at all.
Yeah, true.
Or anything like that. Even Inscription probably wouldn't have been, unless but I had seen people play it and people had suggested it as well.
Yeah, but like if someone had came up to you and been like, "Oh, you should play this deck building card battler Inscription," you wouldn't have been like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I would have been. I don't like deck. I'm not really into card games. But
I'm guessing it was a bit of a smoke and fire situation where you were like, "Ooh, this seems really special." Actually, people are saying crazy things about it.
And it looked cool. Like, I watched 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
I'd not fully watched their streams, but I'd seen bits of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought, oh, that actually looks aesthetically very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not just you throwing cards around. There is bit more to it.
You might have accidentally learned how to play Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
I'm no expert because like I'm one of those people where like I can't fit every kind of game in the genre in my head. I'm like, I played a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh when I was young. I now know Pokemon trading card. There's no more room in my head for Magic. But I think Inscription's kind of Magic adjacent.
Well, the good thing with Inscription as well, that's a perfect example of a game that I played that I would have played, like a game I played in a way that I would have played it offline in terms of I'm very aggressive, I'm very attack. I'm not a very defensive. Any game, I'm not a very defensive person. So if you give us Skyrim, if you give us any of those sort of slasher sword sort of stuff,
you're gonna get the biggest sword.
I'll always get the biggest sword. I'll be the most aggressive class. I'll go full pelt. Like, remember when we did Dungeons and Dragons and I was the aggressive wolf for the battle axe? I'll go in swinging. That's how I work. And with Inscription, you know, that you could get all these things, defensive cards and, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, just stick all the really raggy stuff down and just attack the shit out of them. Just go. And that's how I would have played the game if I wasn't still on stream. I still would have played in that way.
Yeah, and I can see in my head, because I've hung around your chat, I can see the people being like, "No, what are you doing? Like, why have you put down like 6 stones?" And like,
I wanted
exactly. Like, I've definitely had moments like that as well, where I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and people are like, you shouldn't do it, and it's like, no, but it'd be really funny if it succeeds. And like when it does, like it's a buzz, because you know, people go like, people cheer, people boo because you were like a jammy git, and you're like,
oh my god, as well. On Inscription, there's obviously a couple of puzzle elements in there outside of the cards, and there was a couple of times where I basically couldn't be asked to logic the puzzle, so I just forced it and tried every variation and got it. And there was someone in chat who was just like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
And you, because you're like bashing it with a hammer, like, yes, I'm winning.
Did I get it done? I got it done. So yeah,
exactly. How have you been feeling? Because have you been streaming about 2 years now?
Just under sort of September, October 21, I think.
Way nice, congrats. Like, how have you how do you think about Twitch as a platform? Like, have you seen it like change for the better, or has it kind of clashed with like what you wanted to do?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Well, for me personally, it's not too bad because it's not my job.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's something I do for a bit of fun. I'm not in what you would class as any marginalized group either, so I don't get a lot of use.
We gotta say it. We are unfortunately lucky to just to not be attacked just for being on stream.
Yes.
Until people notice what we're saying, and then sometimes they attack.
Yeah, I've had probably 2 occasions where I've had sort of overtly sexual messages in the chat.
Yeah.
But I think for the amount of time I've been watching, I've been on Twitch, I don't think that's bad at all. I've seen people get a hell of a lot worse. When I first started, there was a lot of hate raids going on. There was a huge thing about hate raids. So, you know, I'd had a bot and installed a bot to sort of stop all that sort of stuff. So for me, personally, it's not been too bad because, it's not a job for me. I'm not part of a marginalised group that would get attacked from sort of any outside forces or just generally bad people. The only complaint I would have really is the obviously the splits aren't great in terms of subs and bits and stuff like that, and I think it's only got worse. The fact they've lowered the amount to give you a payout is good, but then they've also took with another hand by upping the amount that they get off you, basically.
Yeah, it's like the classic corporate move of like, you're kind of like, you tip the scale one way, but then you load up the other side at the same time.
And they're doing a lot of like strange, like slightly sort of granular monetizations, like hype chats and all this sort of stuff that's starting to drop in. And I'm like, don't do that. You don't need to do that. You need to either improve the splits or focus on something that's better in terms of, you know, making streaming safer for people from marginalized groups, and
so that they'll stay on longer, you know, like on the platform.
Exactly. I still think it's got a lot of work to do in terms of that sort of stuff, but the fact that it is free to stream on this sort of platform is great because it's free, and when you think about all the infrastructure behind it, it can't be cheap.
It's as far as I've noticed, like, it's only ever went down once, and I think that was some kind of weird DDoS attack thing. But like it's you know, it works. Your video goes out, it gets saved so that you can then save it yourself, which is pretty good. But like I absolutely agree with you. Like the kind of they're playing like cat and mouse with YouTube, I think, at the moment, where like YouTube is stealing the Twitch sort of things, you know, like overlays and like chat bits, and now Twitch have started to kind of steal some of YouTube's ideas. So you're getting this kind of muddy kind of corporate fight that we don't really need to be involved with, and they run the risk of diluting things and making people just think, I'll not bother, I'm not going to put bits into this. If a streamer's got a PayPal, I might tip them, but other than that, I'm out.
And I think there was a massive furor a few weeks ago when they changed some of the advertising stuff. Where
about the logos.
Overlays on, but then the problem is there. Twitch are taking so much split that forces the streamer to do that advertising. So just let them do it. Either you improve the split and then they don't need to do the advertising, or you let them advertise. That you can't have both. You can't have a low split and no ability to advertise appropriately.
Yeah, it's a shame in these kind of all these like walled garden type of websites that we have to use. It's a shame that there's always going to be that corporate guy who goes like, "Oh, we'll just try and sneak this in." Like, there's always a push and pull. It'd be nice if you could just like settle on a platform.
Yeah. And I think the issue is Twitch have had the monopoly for quite a while. YouTube is there, and YouTube gets used, but I think the discoverability on YouTube is really poor.
Yeah.
That stops a lot of people from switching over. And then obviously you've got Kick, but then there's a lot of stuff on Kick that make me uncomfortable. It's got
founders
really low
are a bit dodgy.
It's founded by a crypto gambling people, and that's how it's funded, and that's how they can afford to pay out.
Because I had thought about it, there's some very convincing possible bots on Twitter that will tell you about Kick.
Yes,
I definitely thought about it for a second, and then I had a cursory Google, and then it was like crypto gamble scandals, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of very, very low moderation on there. So from my perspective, it's like how are those most vulnerable streamers protected on Kick? And I don't see any way that they are.
I think like a lot of gamers would love it to be like a Wild West. Like certain types of people would be like, oh yes, Wild West, like the old MMO days where we all got up to horrible stuff in forums and like, 4chan and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a much bigger audience. There might not be as vocal, but there's a much bigger audience that like wants it to be safe or at least looked after. Like you can't just ignore your community. Like and Twitch has to class every streamer's like chat as their overall community. Like a streamer can only look after their own, but like you say, people can hate raid in just because they've got like a bone to pick with that specific person.
I have a tag on that says that they're trans or whatever, and that it immediately is like they'll just go straight there, hate raid the shit out of them.
And it's terrible.
And I've seen that
because it makes people say like hide who they are, meaning that they're not like a beacon to attract some people to like form a community.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
you should feel safe to label yourself however you wish.
Yeah, and not so like Twitch has definitely got like work to do. I think like the hard thing is as well, you see like the community managers from Twitch and they're all like good and switched on, but I think there's only so much you can do to like fight back the tide of gamers, really, isn't there?
Definitely. It's a strange one because there is no streaming service that is perfect. There never will be.
Yeah.
Like, Twitch is owned by Amazon.
Yeah.
YouTube is owned by Google. And Kick is owned by some crypto bros. So it's.
And I think they're probably all on Amazon servers as well when you work your way back.
It's not. There is no perfect option. And it's sad to have to think of what is least bad.
Yeah.
But I am very, like I said before, very lucky to be in a position where this is not a form. Like streaming is not a form of income for me.
Yeah. It's a hobby.
I'm very, very honoured that I get up and give bits is amazing, and I'm extremely grateful for it. But I know there are people out there that streaming is their job. And if you work for 37 hours a week full time, and then you're only getting paid for like 18 hours of that. Really, that's what's happening. They're taking 50% of everything off you. You're basically getting paid part-time wages for doing full-time work. I can understand why people get pissed off.
Yeah, and it's like it's draining, like literally, monetarily draining, but also like, because you're having to like hustle for more. Like you're having to be like, oh, okay, I need to have like HelloFresh, and I'm gonna have to trick my audience into getting HelloFresh accounts so that because that's the thing, like that's started to happen is places won't pay you unless you basically get your audience to sign up. And it's like, yes, on one hand that makes sense, but on the other hand I'm like, no, I'm never gonna try and trick people into signing up to a weekly food box subscription or Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends. But then I can understand why people feel the need to do that.
If your life was on the line, then
you do what you need to do in order to pay rent or pay for food and stuff like that. But it's sad that people are streaming for you know, people do the stream sometimes like 10 hours a day and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they come out with shit all for their work.
I think my butt would hurt too much if I did that.
Oh God, I mean, I've done like 6 hours is the maximum I've done, and my arse was numb, way numb. Oh, it was horrible. I couldn't do it again. I will probably end up doing it again if I ever reach a celebratory amount or whatever.
And I'll be there, like you know, like you did a New Year's thing. That was great. We technically all got drunk together through the internet.
That was nice. That's nice.
But all of us could hide behind it, you know, and just chat away and be like, "Oh, spelling mistake. They'll never notice." Whereas you were up there, yeah.
Having a jolly old time. But yeah.
So like, I know we sort of like touched on it at the start, but is there any like one thing you wish you'd heard, like, to help you get into stuff? Like if you'd heard a tip where that would like suddenly like unlocked a bunch of like potential for you.
I think it just goes back to just streaming. Streaming needs to be enjoyable for you. Is the main takeaway, because if you're not enjoying it, then the audience will know that you're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
And you would start resent having to do it.
Definitely.
There's a few people that I used to watch that don't stream anymore because they were just like, I just stopped enjoying it. And I think it's also important from the flip side of making sure that you enjoy doing it, but then when you stop enjoy doing it, don't feel afraid to back off. Take a break, do what you need to do in terms of like, I need to just have a week off, or I need to have 2 months off, I need to have a couple of days off. Like when I first started out, I would stream. I never didn't stream. Like I used to schedule, I used to stream all the time. Even when I felt shit, I'd do it all the time. And I got to the point where I was like, oh God, do I have to do this again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I was somebody I was watching who did a stream, and then in the Discord later they went, I'm gonna have a week off. I need to have a week off. And I thought,
that's an option. That.
Yeah. So then I've started doing that in terms of, I still don't do it very often, but if I am at that point where I don't want to stream and I feel too tired, or I'm just unwell, or I just can't face doing it, I'll not do it. And I'll be honest and say, I'm not feeling 100%. I'm going to take the night off. Go watch these streamers instead. They're marvelous. And I think, I wish I'd knew that at the beginning. So I think that's an important thing for everybody who's streaming, is to know when to be able to just say, and I just need a couple of days off.
I think that does link to what you were saying as well, when you were like, make sure you're doing it to keep yourself happy, because chasing what you think an audience, it could even be a theoretical audience if you're just thinking about starting, like chasing what you think they want, unless you like knock it out the park and like you hit it every week and your numbers are going up, like you're gonna start getting annoyed when you see like things not working out. Whereas if you just kind of focus on yourself, I think one of my, thinking about this myself, a tip that I started doing was turning off the chat number, like how many people's in there.
Yes.
I'm just I think I don't care.
There's a massive hang up, I think, on the numbers. And I was definitely guilty of it at the beginning.
Like watching
it and going, oh, you know, why have I got 3 people less than I did the last time? What am I doing wrong? But then you just end up circling. You end up eating your own tail. Yeah. And trying to work out. So, and sometimes it's nothing to do with you. It could be that someone who's usually in might have gone out that night. Yeah. Or someone else might be in hospital. Someone else might have there's a program they want to watch on instead. Yeah. It's not, the numbers don't have a reflection on your streams, I think, is really important to remember that. And I've seen my numbers go up and down. Sometimes the other night I had about 40 odd people in, which is, I had a couple of raids and I got really lucky and that was great. But then the next day I had, 20, 22, 23. That's fine as well, because that's there's people there, and there's people there that are willing to watch it, and it doesn't matter if it's 20, it doesn't matter if it's 10, it doesn't matter if it's 5, it doesn't matter if it's 40, it doesn't matter if it's 140. Yeah. It's not, for me, it's not how many are actually watching, it's about the interaction that you're getting from them. Yeah. And I'm fine with people if they just want to lurk. I'm fine with people who, just put the stream on and go and, do the dishes, or, do whatever. And there's some people that don't like chatting. There's just some viewers that are naturally not very chatty. But it's the quality of the chat that you get, I think, is more important than the raw number of actually how many people are watching. Because sometimes there's bots and stuff which count towards them you don't realise. And the numbers mess with your head. And I've seen a few people get really down about their numbers. And it's like, but your streams are good. It doesn't matter. Just turn them off. Stop looking at them.
Yeah.
You're better than that. You are a good streamer. I like watching you, and I know plenty of other people like watching you. Just don't.
But
just
if you get in your head, you could like tank what was about to be a good, what would have been a good stream. But I still look afterwards and be like, because obviously like I share the channel with other people, so we all cheer each other on and be like, oh, look at these numbers this week and stuff like that.
It's nice. I don't mind getting that thing, the email at the end where it says you had an average of whatever. Great, but I think in real time,
it messes with my head, because I'll get in my own head about it and think, oh no, there's only like 2 people left. But like you say, it's delayed half the time, and it might just be that someone accidentally closed the window and then went and did something, and they'll come back and like they weren't really, like they were gone, but they hadn't like shut you off for the night.
And I think I know, and you see loads of places where they've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people. There might be, I don't know, 800 people watching.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really happening in the chat in terms of kind of anybody saying anything at all.
Probably because they're all scared too, because there's too many people in the chat.
It's a funny one, because like I said, there's nothing wrong with people not talking in terms of they just might not be that kind of person that feels comfortable doing it. But at the same time, I think the quality of what you have in the chat and the relationship you have with the chat that's there on that stream is more important than if you've got 50, 60, however many people sitting in it personally. So I think your numbers advice is spot on. Do not focus or fixate on them, because they're not a true representation. You might have 5 people in, but there might be really chatty 5 people. You might have a really good fucking stream with those 5 people.
To be honest, like you could just be chatting to one person and just have a really good back and forth.
Exactly.
Like sometimes you just get in the zone.
You can have ones with like 25 people, but then it might be just a bit. No one's really.
You know who involved. I'll give a shout out to? Dr. Rehaminator.
Oh yes,
he's a class act, and I have no idea why he sticks around to check me out sometimes, because I don't think I've done anything to deserve it. But he's one where you can have a full on conversation with him in a chat, and he'll carry it.
Extremely intelligent as well.
Yeah, he was helping me with Souls, I think, with Elden Ring.
He's a good egg. He's a good egg as Dr. Ham. Very witty.
Yes.
And his own streams are very good as well. In.
But so have you got any upcoming like plans for the future? You don't have to spoil any games you're thinking of, but I don't really. This sounds awful. I don't really plan that far ahead, because I buy games and then I have like a list of them. Yeah.
In terms of I know kind of where I want to go next or potentially play next. But in terms of like, am I adding anything to the stream? Am I doing anything different with the stream? I don't know, because I think I've got no aspiration.
Do you like to just take it as it comes, if you know what I mean? Like, you'll just get a random idea one Saturday and you're like, I'm adding that to the stream.
The whole thing about that I did for the Halloween stream last year, the Hallow stream where I played Outlast and shat me pants. I also did that Jimmy Nail thing where Jimmy Nail read a horror story about him going to a Greggs and there wasn't any sausage rolls left.
Oh, that's harrowing.
It was something I made up literally 3 days beforehand and then put together like on GIMP, downloaded GIMP, got a picture of Jimmy Nail, got some onions in a weird like farmer's background, and just wrote this thing about having Greggs sausage rolls and then not having any Greggs sausage rolls or whatever. So for me, I can't plan. I just don't, because I know with Nerdy Up North it's a bit different, because you've got different elements. You've got Facebook, you've got Discord, you've got different things, you've got podcasts, you've got YouTube. So you've got things to kind of grow the community with.
And
like
many
things like
outlets, yes, for
many
ideas,
outlets.
yeah.
Whereas mine's just some idiot goes on Twitch and streams a game for like 2 or 3 hours, and everyone has an all right time, I hope.
You have true
And then
freedom, Sloop.
That's enough for me. But yeah, in terms of games, like obviously I'm playing Cult of the Lamb at the moment. I'm playing Forgive Me Father and playing Untitled Goose Game, and just carry on that sort of variation, because I think I quite like having nights where I play slightly different styled games.
Yes.
And I think that one, keeps it interesting. Two, sometimes it attracts slightly different audiences on different nights.
Yeah, so you get a chat with different people.
So you get a chat with a few different people, and different people rage it as well. So I think keeping that sort of three-way sort of different elements each stream is probably going to continue. I've got a massive list of stuff for each day still to play.
No, and you take like suggestions quite often, so I'm sure that derails your plan. You know, like every few months.
Yeah, because I think I've had where is it? I've had Beat Cop and Super Meat Boy in my Thursday list for ages. But other things keep coming along and changing. And then I've had Deponia in, but then people keep voting for other things. So I just play stuff as it comes, and I do ask chat or ask in Discord what people would like to see, because then that gives me an indication of what is interesting.
Yeah, true.
And you know, I wouldn't put the game in there if I didn't also want to play it. I think
that's a good tip, actually. If you're gonna take like community choices, provide the choices. Because like last time I did a cursory like I'm not sure what to play when I was playing Spelunky, and a bunch of people just suggested games that I didn't have, and I was like, I can't really afford to buy BioShock for £17. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to go to the Steam library.
I'll keep not playing new games. I'm not going to stream Starfield because one, I don't trust Bethesda to release on day one without bugs. And I don't really generally now buy brand new games because the performance of current gen games on launch is pretty piss poor.
Absolutely, so, especially if there's like any kind of online that hasn't had a stress test.
Like, I mean, if you look, I can't even begin to name them, but the last few games that I've launched have been complete shit.
Well, yeah,
Gollum was shit. Redfall, shit.
Yeah.
And then there was loads of what was that other one that launched and it was garbage on the first day, and no one could get into a server or anything. Well, Diablo when it launched. Hours they couldn't get in.
That's so one thing I can never get behind, queuing to play a game. I'm like, no, that shouldn't be real. Like, I know there is MMO gamers out there, but I'm like, no, if I click log on and my character doesn't load up, then like, no.
I'm out, mate. I mean, luckily I'm still one of those sad people that still play Path of Exile.
Ooh, grind your dailies on there.
Instead of playing Diablo 4, I'm just going to go and play Path of Exile instead because I get used to play old school RuneScape. I've still got my account for that. So
I did see you load that up once. I mean, it was completely foreign to me because I've never played it back in the day. I think you were like I think you killed a pig and then you went inside a house and a witch was there. I think that's what I saw.
I streamed it one night. I did a long time ago. I streamed old school RuneScape.
But that's something where I saw it pop up and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to check out RuneScape. It's like you're gonna do all the hard work for me.
Wait, you could just spend hours shearing sheep and making wool. I loved old school RuneScape. It was a fabulous little game. Obviously, because it's an MMO, you have to pay extra for certain quests because they need to monetize the shit out of you. But the free to play stuff on there is really good fun. I loved RuneScape.
Yeah, it's nice it still persists. You know, like there's still children who could accidentally stumble upon it and have a good time, like a bunch of us did back in the day.
And what was it called? Ever something?
Quest.
EverQuest?
That is definitely a game.
EverQuest. Something of that nature.
See, I skipped PC because I couldn't really afford a good one back in like those days. But it's cool that now I can connect with people who have played it and absorb the secondhand knowledge.
Well, I used to play a lot of RuneScape, and then my computer got murdered by a virus.
LinkinPark.exe came onto the
LimeWire downloads. The classic.
Yeah. System of a Down, Legend of Zelda.exe. All that good stuff.
So stupid. And then I didn't have a PC for years. I went from PC to Xbox 360.
Oh.
And then had an Xbox 360 for a very long time, then had a PS4, then PS5. And then I've only recently, the last year and a bit, got the new laptop, mainly to start streaming, but also get back into PC gaming a little bit as well.
Yeah, and like streaming's the perfect reason to catch up on an old backlog. One interesting thing I've found as well is like a lot of people in my chat are like PS1 Sega gamers, and I'm like very much Nintendo. So I'm like, I can bring the Nintendo games to the crowd that people have never seen, but I'm obsessed with.
That's why I like watching you and Angel and Techie Rob.
Yeah.
You all play like a lot of retro stuff, and I was very much, especially Techie Rob was like really old stuff, Jaguar and all that. I was very much Master System, Mega Drive, PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I never had a Nintendo apart from a Game Boy. So I kind of missed out on a hell of a lot of stuff. I mean, I played Super Mario Brothers because that was part of me cartridge that was 25 games in one that I bought from Portugal.
Hell yeah.
And I had Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Black, and Diamond. So I got into a bit of the Pokemon. Then I had
college
a DS.
days, we all got into DSs.
Then Nintendo's always been one of them ones where I never had a NES, I never had a SNES. I didn't have a 3DS or anything. And a lot of this, especially Zelda's a bit of a phenomenon that really passed me by. I've only ever played Majora's Mask and the Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah, and I would say those are two of the most divisive in the series. Or maybe Spirit Tracks slightly more than Hourglass. But that's good to know that, because like it would be the same thing if you played a Sega game. You would play something that you think is completely mundane, and I would be like, hell yeah, Toe Jam and Earl, like I've heard about this. I don't know how to play it.
Switch 2, Double Dragon. I used to be on Double Dragon on Master System. I was an absolute beast. In Tekken 2 on PlayStation 1, I was outraged. I would just beat the shit out of everybody on that.
We should find a way to play Tekken against each other. Like, I say find a way. I know the way. It's just getting together to actually do it.
Who would be your fighter of choice on Tekken 2?
Oh,
you can't have Law because Law's mine.
I think I would just go with like Kazuya or maybe Hayachi actually.
Oh, the old man with the spiky hair.
Like I used to know some King moves, but like they'll have all left at this point. But I think I know square square triangle is the Hayachi punch punch big punch combo. I can get by on that for a little bit.
I used to do the Law one. I used to do the kind of cartwheel kickback, which I think it was like triple backflip, then a flying kick. Yes, that was it. Yes, and then there was another one where you'd run up to them, run on their chest, and go and then jump and then land on them. Oh, I love Law. I do miss silly voice acting, but I remember Wang. Oh, used to do that all the time. Ooh. Yeah. Next time you've got a gap in your stream schedule. We can load up Tekken on your stream one night. Don't tempt me. It's easy. We'll just do it through Parsec. You did say as well though that you have some like other appearances coming up. Do you want to talk about those? Do some plugs. I think I can do a couple of plugs. If you can plug the FF stuff, or is it a secret? Oh, that stuff. No, it's not. I don't think it's a secret. So potentially, I believe this is what's happening anyway. I've been given a date, so I'll tell you. That sounds concrete to me. There's a streamer called Bite My Thumb who, if you don't know who they are, please follow them. They're very entertaining. They're very film orientated as well. They do some chats about film, and they also do a quiz show on a Monday night, which is absolutely presented by a man
Bonkers.
dressed as a squid. No, it's not a man dressed as a squid.
No?
It is a man squid called
Yeah.
Terence.
He's real. I've seen him. He's on Twitch.
Yeah. But on Wednesday nights, he's currently doing a horror discussion program with a streamer called Grumpy Andrew, who does a lot of horror reviews. But I have been cordially invited. I believe it starts on the 16th of July for 6 weeks. I think it's every 2 weeks, though, so it's twice a month. So it'll be 3 times, July or September. I'll be on there discussing the Fast and Furious films, picking them apart and having a bit of a laugh and, having a bit back and forth, discussing the silly bits, discussing the good bits, discussing the bad bits. So I'll be on there. And then I believe, Jake, that I may be involved in the Nerdy Up North Nicolas Cage podcast.
We've got you penciled in for some time later in the year. Date's subject to change, but I'll remind you close to the time. But yeah, that's a thing we haven't talked about, but you're like a massive film person. You're like oh, yes. I need that breeze. But yeah, I've been dying to get you on because, like you say on Twitch, like not everyone likes movies. People are here for games, but you've got like a massive film knowledge that goes across like Oscars and the trash stuff. We've watched a lot of trash today.
Stuff. I've watched a lot of shit in my time. Because I used to get very. I don't know if this is just me being an only child or a sad teenager or a sad.
That's why we're good friends. Only child's club.
Yeah, I used to get very fixated on actors and actresses, very particular actresses.
Oh, okay.
And
so that's where it stems from.
Force myself to literally try and watch every single film I've ever been in.
Right. Okay.
And then if I liked them, I'd buy the DVD. So that's why I've got lots of Mark Ruffalo DVDs, because I got fixated with Mark Ruffalo at one point and literally watched pretty much everything he's ever done. Give or take ones that you can't get on DVD or just are nowhere. Same thing with Nicolas Cage, because we used to do a website a long time ago, I believe.
Yes.
And I tasked myself to watch the worst rated Nicolas Cage films.
That's what made us buy Deadfall, wasn't it?
That's what made us buy Deadfall. And then, so the reason I've got that many DVDs is because, firstly, I do love films. You're quite right.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fixation with certain actors. I'd want the DVDs and want all the stuff that I like.
So we can kiss the faces as well if they're on the cover. Double value.
and then as I get older, and the whole streaming services stuff, I'm so glad that I've kept all my DVDs, because I don't know if you read it today, but Paramount Plus are taking 20 more things off their streaming service.
Destroying it for no reason, yeah.
Destroying it for no reason. Probably a tax write-off or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's probably a few of these DVDs in here that are on no streaming services at all.
Absolutely.
How does anybody else ever get to see them again? You buy the DVD.
In the horrible, like, desolate future, we'll be like crawling up to your door, being like, "Sloop, save us! I need to watch Batman and Robin."
Have you got that shitty John Cusack film from 2005? Yes, I do. So yeah, I love me films. I like the whole idea of. I like escapism. I like all that shit. And yes, I like crap. I've got some garbage films that are probably like Dr. Detroit is one of my favorite films. Is it good? No, it's not. It really isn't. But I've got it on DVD and I will watch it on a regular occasion.
Oh yeah,
occurrence. Love that stuff. But then I've got a lot of Oscar-winning stuff. The only genre I'm not keen on is romantic comedies.
Yeah.
Unless it's got an interesting twist to it.
Yeah, like some magical twist. But you're right though, that's a formula. So you only need to watch one. A couple of decades, you've got your fill.
But no, I do like my DVDs, so
it'll be fun to dive into Cage. You'll have to give us like a list of like, I mean, I know like the top hits, but you'll have to give us some vague homework just in case there's anyone coming on who isn't as brain broken as us and has stared into the abyss of the Cage.
As long as they've watched Vampire's Kiss, they'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the top of the list. And I would say like check in on Con Air, The Rock, and Face. It's a lot, isn't it? When you think
Con Air, The Rock, Face Off.
I think you got to hit
leaving Las Vegas if you really want to see him be like actually genuinely amazing.
Yeah.
Vampire's Kiss.
If you want to see where the memes come from.
If you want to see where the memes come from. If you want to see him be really bad, that really bad one about the rap, which has got Chad Michael Murray in and some blonde wife that irritates the shit out of us. And if you want to see him with his kit off, watch Zanderley, which has Judge Reinhold in it with a really, really shockingly terrible mustache. But Nicolas Cage gets his kit off and rubs himself in body paint.
Nice. So, I mean, he does commit to the bit. That's
that's
absolutely. One thing. That's one massively good thing you can take from the Cage. Whatever you think about the performances, he goes all in, and I think we could all take a little bit of that going forward.
Definitely. But that'll be good fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it has to happen. It's on the schedule. It, like I say, it might shift closer or further away, but we'll let you know. But yeah, Sloop, it's been amazing chatting with you tonight. Thanks for being, as you put it, the guinea pig for the interview.
Yeah. And I hope it comes out all right and it's not horrendously botched.
Oh yeah, no, we'll fix it in post. We'll change all the things you said to super smart things.
Yeah. Put some nice little interludes with like strange advert. Putting HelloFresh advert in the middle of the podcast.
Maybe we could start doing adverts, but that requires writing sketches. Who has the time these days?
No, quite. Get internet historian to do it for you.
But yes, I don't really have a sign-off planned other than to say thank you. I could be like, Sloop, we have talked.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a nice chat, and I hope what I said made sense and wasn't completely contradictory to everything that I'd said previously.
No, I didn't notice any contradictions. But even if there was, I wouldn't pull you up on them because it's not that type of a show.
No, exactly. We're all allowed to be a bit contradictory, aren't we?
But yeah, obviously, if you've enjoyed any of this, go give Sliding Sloop a follow. That is Sliding Sloop on Twitch. I think if you just Google it, they'll find you on Twitter. I'm
on Twitter. Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter as well if you want, because I usually tweet when I'm going live that day. Or you can just go to Twitch and
you tweet you tweet what's irking you that day as well, which everyone likes to see.
Like a very sweaty metro that I had to get home today.
Yes. But like that's relatable. Hashtag relatable. That's you, Sloop.
But yeah.
And same for Nerdy Up North. If you just search Nerdy Up North, most places will pop up with something on nearly every platform. We're even doing TikToks under Gaming Up North at the moment.
Oh,
where I'm doing card pack openings and stuff like that, because that's somewhere I can chuck that kind of thing.
Nice. It's good to have a bit of diversity in your content, man.
Oh yeah, like it's exactly what you said, where I just get random ideas. I'll do them. They might stick, they might not, and that's fine. We just move on. We improvise.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I've been lucky that some of the Ainsley Harriet thing on my stream is still there. That's been there pretty much since the beginning.
I'm going to leave that for the people to find out on the road.
Yeah. Like, the Peter Sallis Be Right Back screen, that was made by somebody else, but that's never going to go. I used to have a different Be Right Back screen with Des Lynam on.
Yes.
But then I changed that because I prefer Peter Sallis, to be fair.
Yeah. And you've also got the Mr. Blobby makes appearances.
Oh, yeah, that'll never leave.
At random interludes to scare and delight the audiences. But yes, we better sign off then. But thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one with a different interview, possibly.
I've not been here.
Bye.